everyone. I wanted to take a few moments to go over at the end of remote learning week 8 and near the beginning of the 9th week of remote learning. I wanted to just go over some of the assignments and give you a bit of an overview of what things are going to look like over the next couple of weeks. So over this week, we finished reading the last 5 chapters of The Breadwinner. So that is what has been on the agenda this week. So you can see from May 25th to May 29th, there are lots of chapters of The Breadwinner on there. And there's also the Breadwinner Journal activity in Google Classroom. And next week, the Breadwinner Journal is going to be due on Thursday. So I'm just going to take a quick look at what that assignment looks like. So there's a description of the group rules for your journal entries, and there's also a link to the Padlet, but there is a Google Doc. And in your Google Doc, it has a description of the literacy group rules or the different types of journal entries that you can do. And then there's a spot for a journal entry for each chapter, as well as at the very end, after you've finished your journal entries for each chapter, there's a place to summarize your understanding of the novel. So what was the setting? Where and when did the novel take place? Who were the characters? What was the problem? What are some of the events, the really important events that happened in the story? And what is the solution, or how did things end up at the end of the story? Also, the theme is the message that Deborah Ellis, or the author, is trying to get across, or the big idea, the lesson that she is trying to get across with her novel. So this journal entry Google Doc is due next Thursday. Next Friday, your All About Me portfolio is due. And so once again, this is the link to get into that. And you're going to use your username of SD23 and your password is your pen. And if you're wondering what kinds of things you need to have in your All About Me portfolio, you can take a look at this rubric, and it describes basically the expectations for a good All About Me portfolio. So you can go through and use this as a bit of a checklist. Make sure that the things that are described on here describe your work in your All About Me portfolio. And if they don't, then you can add some more reflections or add some more posts into your All About Me portfolio. So that is due on Friday, June 5th. So 1 week from today. So also on June 5th, I would like you to finish your Green Growth-Minded Learning Challenge slide deck related to the challenge that you took on. So that assignment looks like this. So basically you have a Google slide deck that's a blank one that you can put pictures of your progress, videos, descriptions in writing relating to the Green Learning Challenge that you took on. You could talk about your journey, about how you learned and mastered that challenge, or you can just share evidence of you having mastered that challenge. So that is due on June 5th. It doesn't necessarily need to take the format of a slide deck, but I've presented you with that option. If you wanted to do some other format to share with me your progress towards your Green Learning Challenge, you can do that. Student learning profile is going to be due on June 12th. And this is the slide deck where you have sections to put evidence of your learning in relation to science and math and PE and English and social studies and French and career education. So for instance, you might put your power poem on a slide and then add a reflection about it. You probably already have some slides about the ads that we analyzed back in the fall, along with your cause and effect assignment or some part of that. You've probably got some slides about refugee. You should, at this point, be adding some slides about breadwinner related to your journal entries and your learning throughout that. You should also have some things in social studies already, including some things about your infographic, your clothing map. Maybe you added some slides about fair trade, some of the articles that we read. And at this point, you should also be adding something relating to your global consumption project. And so that could look like taking slides from your Google slide deck and pasting them in. So this is Ava C's Google or the slides from her PowerPoint for her global consumption project. And so that is the idea of the student learning profile. Another couple of things that are due in June that we've been working on for quite some time include your Weebly website. So your Weebly website is something that you can get into and create a website. I would suggest adding like your student learning profile and other evidence of your learning or other content that relates to your learning. That basically it's something that you can share with your parents, or you can share with other people that you'd like to share it with, that shows some of what you got out of this year. So I'm just going to show you really quickly that when you create or publish your website, it will, when you go to the link, look like this. So you'll have to add in the password stingers. And when you add that in, you can then log in and see your Weebly website. So your Weebly website, this is one of a student who did his a couple of years ago. And so he really likes the Toronto Maple Leafs. So he's got some content about hockey that he likes and things about the NHL playoffs. But he's also got a page about work and assignments where he has added some content that relates to the things that he completed and the work that he did when he was in grade 6. So he's got a video he created, a narrated slide deck relating to his SLP, and he turned it into a video. He's got a video of his global consumption project. He's got some information about chocolate, and he's got some samples relating to French, including his French-English visual dictionary page that we never got to do. He's got his week wheel, and he's created a French vlog. So another sample of a website that a student created a couple of years ago is this one here. So this person's got their power poem embedded on the site, and also has some examples of French learning, including the Comment ça va wheel. And he has also added pictures of his self-assessment of the core competencies booklet into this. So that website is due on June, let me just take a look, June 19th. So by that time, I would like you to add the link to your published website into that assignment. And also due at that time is your core competency self-assessment. So your core competency self-assessment is something that you can add to your website, and you can also add it to your student learning profile. So when you hand in your student learning profile, or when you finish it for June 12th, don't actually hand it in or turn it in, because you want to be able to keep adding to it as time goes on. I'm going to take a look at it on June 12th so I can see where you're at. But in particular, there are some slides at the end that relate to assessing the core competencies. And I want you to be able to add whatever you do to assess your core competencies to those slides. So if you do a sketch note, or if you do some pages in one of those booklets, or if you write some text or add some pictures that relate to your self-assessment of your core competencies and your understanding of your abilities in relation to those. So just want to go over the calendar a little bit. So I'm going to show you the calendar for June. So next week, week 9, is June 1st to 5th. So you need to finish the Breadwinner Journal Google Doc by Thursday. And then you need to finish your All About Me portfolio and your Green Learning Challenge slide deck, or however you're sharing your progress on that, by Friday. So basically those are the 3 things to work on next week. So your Breadwinner Journal Google Doc, your All About Me portfolio, and your Green Learning Challenge slide deck. If you finish those, you can then move on to your priority for the next week, which will be your student learning profile. So adding some evidence of your learning and reflections about your learning into your student learning profile, which could include any of the things that we've done this year, including your learning about historical thinking concepts during remote learning, including your learning about the breadwinner, and including other things that you learned throughout the year. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what you can add into there in terms of French in just a minute. The week after that, your priority will be to catch up on all of those things and also start adding things to your Weebly website and finish that process up, as well as do your assessment of your core competencies abilities. So that takes us to the week of June 15th to June 19th. One wrinkle that I'm going to throw into this whole process is I am going to add an assignment relating to French on June 1st to June 5th. So in addition to working on your breadwinner journal entry, which you should have a lot of work done on that already, and your All About Me portfolio, which we've been working on throughout the year, and your Green Learning Challenge slide deck, I'm going to add a French assignment next week that will be due on Wednesday, June 10th. So it'll be due the week after that. So you'll have a whole week and a half to work on that French. And basically it's just setting you up so that you have something for French that you can add to your student learning profile in relation to your French learning. You can also add it to your Weebly website and that kind of thing as well. So I'll tell you more about that next week. And it'll just be basically a way of sharing and celebrating your learning in French this year. So that is a broad brush description of what we're going to be doing for the rest of the year. After June 19th, there will be some activities that I add that are going to be sort of in addition to all of this. And those are things that we're not going to worry about in terms of reporting and writing the CSL documents and that kind of thing. But there'll be some learning after June 19th, but it'll be a lot more flexible.